This is News You Can Use.
To start this year, 2022, we hosted a meeting with Doug Duncan, our good friend, Senior Vice President and Chief Economist with Fannie Mae, to discuss his latest economic forecast and housing forecast for the year. Over the years, no economist has more accurately predicted what's coming next for our industry than Doug Duncan and his team at Fannie Mae. He shared a wealth of knowledge that we'll be sharing with you in bite-sized pieces over the coming weeks. The housing market's going to be different this year. It is every year. And in some ways in 2022, it's going to be more challenging. We all just need to adjust to the new conditions that exist so that we can find our way to our best this year. Check out Doug's insights to help you become the most informed professional possible. I always ask you the last question, and I always know the answer, but I thought today the answer might be different. And that is the question that I think everyone probably today, it's more of a question for people that are buying than are selling. But as a buyer today, is it a good time to buy or sell a home, Doug?
Well, the predicate is still the same. If you have a household budget, that's the predicate. And now, but that predicate, because of what's happened with the virus, that might be changing. So you may have had to change your budget a bit based on how your work went, where your work went, whether you have different needs. So that's something that it's always a predicate. You should have a budget. And if you've made those adjustments that might be needed, then if at today's interest rates and prices for the house that you want to buy, it becomes a purchase to buy a home to live in. And that's the way to make the calculation. If you're thinking, well, interest rates jumped, but they're going to come back down. And I'm going to wait for that. Now you've moved into the realm of speculation. Can you afford to be a speculator? And some people can, and that's fine. But just know that that's the difference, and one is riskier than the other.
Yeah, when you get in unprecedented environments like this, where there's so many people looking at a listing, my son has put his home on the market yesterday, and every 30 minutes today, from 8 in the morning till 6 tonight, there's people looking, and the same tomorrow. And then we'll have contracts on Saturday evening come in, which is unprecedented. Yeah. It is likely that the list price will be exceeded by bids that come in. Yep. So if you're in that category and as a buyer, then basically it gets back to take the emotion out, go to your point. If you're not a speculator, does the budget that you have, the income and the expenses, does it fit based on interest rates today? Does it fit the price that you'll ultimately need to pay to buy? And let time then become the reconciler of the value of the home that you just bought. Because over time, we've seen housing values go up. They do go up and down, but over time, consistently, they do go higher over a long period of time, or they at least in terms of precedent. Is that the way to think about it if you're a buyer today?
It is. And in our forecast, if you look out in 2023 and 2024, we see house price appreciation receding to the level of inflation, or maybe even a little bit below the level of inflation. So this won't go on forever. And interestingly, if you're doing long-term planning, one of the things that we're thinking about is we're redoing our demographic profile of the population. And we think we're within maybe 3 years of the peak first-time buying age of the millennials. And the leading edge of the boomers is now 76 years old. So while the boomers are doing what they said they were going to do, which is age in place, and they've got a few more tools now that we've learned how to work and even do medical care remotely, those two forces are eventually going to come into a juxtaposition to one another, and the potential to flatten out things with additional supply being offered by the boomers. The builders are building as fast as they can. All those things can come together to flatten things out a little bit 3 or 4 years down the road. We'll have more to say on that when we finish our research, but it is for longer term planning. That is something to keep in mind.
Thank you, Doug, for offering your insights to all of us. We'll be back next week with more news you can use.